I'm Mary Ellen Geist with Detroit Public Television's GreatLakesNow.org, the Great Lakes Bureau, and we are here in Buffalo at the Great Lakes Restoration Conference, and I'm with Todd Ambs. And could you explain your name and title and what you do?
Sure. My name's Todd Ambs. I'm the campaign director for the Healing Our Waters Great Lakes Coalition. It's a coalition of about 150 non-governmental organizations from all across the Great Lakes region, and once a year we come together for an annual conference, and that's why we're here in Buffalo this morning.
And it's the 15th annual, and just talk about some of the biggest issues that we're going to be hearing about today at this conference.
Well, certainly we'll be talking about some of the challenges in terms of concerns relative to federal funding of important Great Lakes programs and policies that we need to continue to sustain to be able to continue the progress for cleaning up the most significant surface freshwater resources on the planet, our Great Lakes. But we'll also be talking about some of the great work that is happening all across the region. Really exciting restoration projects, and there's some really neat stuff happening here in Buffalo. So some of the field trips will take people to those spots. And we're also going to be talking about some of the challenges in terms of water infrastructure. We've got some really old plumbing in the Great Lakes, and we need to find more resources to be able to address the challenges, whether it's wastewater, drinking water, stormwater. So we'll be talking about all of those issues and more over the next 2.5 days.
Now, Lake Erie, lots of problems, algae, and a lot of people say climate change is part of that, farmers not doing what they should be doing as far as agriculture runoff. I know that ethanol is another big issue. Can you just address some of those things and what we might be hearing at this conference about the ethanol problem at this point?
Sure. Well, we'll certainly be talking about a number of concerns in terms of polluted runoff, excess nutrients getting into places like Maumee Bay, as you mentioned, near Toledo, certainly Saginaw Bay, Green Bay in Wisconsin. These are all big, challenging areas. And to address how we're going to deal with those issues moving forward, as you mentioned, you could talk about the algal blooms by themselves. You can talk about aquatic invasive species and how it contributes to that. You can talk about the challenges in terms of how you regulate it, but overlaying all of that is this specter, this challenge of climate change, and the fact that what is happening as we have these, as the models have predicted, as we have these large episodic precipitation events, these big washes of water, it just creates a bigger problem for us all around the region. So we'll be talking about, there'll be workshops that address that issue, what is being done, what we'd like to see happen in addition, again, to make sure that we can enjoy all of these wonderful resources that have some challenges.
It's just sort of a strange time as far as the federal government, the new administration, and the EPA right now. Can you just talk a little bit about what challenges we're facing in that regard right now as far as the Great Lakes go?
Sure. Well, unfortunately, it's no secret. This administration does not appear to be any friend of the Great Lakes. They have proposed zeroing out funding for the biggest restoration initiative called the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative. They've proposed zeroing funding for a range of other programs and policies that are essential to continue to work in the Great Lakes. The good news is that despite that, we have continued to have broad bipartisan support in Congress for this work. So those proposals really fell on deaf ears in Congress, and we've got looks like good news in terms of the current federal budget, and we'll see what happens when they finally approve one. But we are pretty confident that our Great Lakes champions who have continued to step up in Congress will do so moving forward. Again, we have this broad bipartisan group of people around the Great Lakes that recognize that when you're talking about the health of the Great Lakes, you are also talking about the health of the Great Lakes economy, and those two things go hand in hand, and as a result, continue to see broad support in Congress.
You are hopeful about the future of the Great Lakes?
Yes, I absolutely am. I'm hopeful not only on issues like funding at the federal level, but also just hopeful because when you look at the 3,500 projects that have been funded around the Great Lakes, just thanks to the Restoration Initiative, when you look at the revitalization that is happening in places like here in Buffalo, along the Buffalo River, the excitement of community organizations where we're not only improving the environment but also empowering communities, that is an energy that is important and that I think is going to sustain us into the future.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to the conference.